The Middle East stands on the edge of a major conflict, with tensions between Iran and Israel reaching a critical point. The world watches anxiously, as every move is scrutinized and uncertainty grows. As of late June 2025, both nations are locked in a dangerous standoff. Newsrooms buzz with urgent updates, and people everywhere hope for reassurance, but find only growing unease. The United States, backing Israel, has evacuated embassy staff and raised alerts, signaling the seriousness of the threat. American diplomats are rushed to safety while Marines stand guard. In Tehran, Iran's military is on its highest alert, vowing harsh retaliation against any aggression. Leaders deliver fiery speeches promising to defend their sovereignty. Both sides are preparing for the worst. Military command centers hum with activity as Israeli and Iranian forces brace for possible war. The world faces the urgent challenge of pulling both sides back from the brink. Global leaders scramble for a diplomatic solution as the fate of the region and the world hangs in the balance. The immediate trigger for the current crisis is a dramatic escalation over Iran's nuclear program, a situation that has been building for years beneath the surface of international diplomacy. Tensions reached a boiling point as Iran's nuclear ambitions became increasingly clear, with satellite images and intelligence reports confirming the expansion of uranium enrichment facilities. On June 12, 2025, the International Atomic Energy Agency declared Iran in breach of its non-proliferation obligations, a move strongly supported by the United States and key European allies, who voiced deep concerns about regional security. Iran swiftly rejected the resolution, denouncing it as politically motivated interference, and in a defiant response, announced it would accelerate its nuclear activities by opening a third enrichment plant, further alarming the international community. Diplomatic talks in Oman, which many hoped would ease tensions, collapsed after Iran's supreme leader dismissed a US proposal to phase out enrichment, leaving negotiators frustrated and the world on edge. The 2015 nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA, had once limited Iran's program and offered hope for lasting peace, but the US withdrawal in 2018 unraveled years of progress and trust. Renewed American sanctions, including oil embargoes and financial restrictions, pushed Iran to expand enrichment even further, fueling today's crisis and deepening the divide between Tehran and the West. Years of painstaking negotiations have failed to produce a breakthrough, leaving the world with a dangerous deadlock and a growing sense of urgency as diplomatic options dwindle. Now, with diplomacy in tatters and military build-ups underway, the collapse of talks has set the stage for a potential confrontation that could reshape the Middle East and threaten global security. This crisis is the latest chapter in a decades-long rivalry, a conflict that has shaped the politics and security landscape of the Middle East for generations. The animosity between Iran and Israel is not just a recent phenomenon. It is deeply rooted in history, ideology, and a series of pivotal events that have fueled suspicion and hostility on both sides. At the heart of this rivalry lies deep mistrust over Iran's nuclear ambitions, which have long been a source of anxiety for Israel and its allies. Iran's pursuit of nuclear technology, even for civilian purposes, has been viewed with skepticism, as fears persist that it could be a stepping stone toward developing nuclear weapons. Israel and the US suspect Iran's civilian nuclear program is a cover for weapons development, seeing a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat. For Israel, the prospect of a hostile nation in the region possessing nuclear weapons is simply unacceptable, prompting years of intelligence operations, diplomatic pressure, and even sabotage efforts. Iran, on the other hand, insists its program is peaceful, a matter of national pride and sovereignty. Iranian leaders argue that they have a right to nuclear technology for energy and medical purposes, and that Western accusations are politically motivated attempts to undermine their independence. The 2015 nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA, was a rare moment of hope, offering a framework for limiting Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. But the collapse of the JCPOA in 2018, after the US withdrew, led to renewed sanctions and Iran ramping up enrichment, reigniting old fears and tensions. Since then, tensions have escalated from covert operations, like cyber attacks and targeted assassinations, to open military confrontations, especially in the wake of the Gaza war in 2023. The region has witnessed a dangerous spiral of violence, with each side responding to perceived threats with increasing force. Direct attacks and retaliations have shattered old norms of deniability, making the conflict more visible and volatile than ever before. The rules of engagement have changed, and the world is watching as both nations test each other's resolve. The conflict has shifted from proxy wars, fought through allies and militias in Lebanon, Syria, and elsewhere,